What if the internet is not a product of our time, or even of us? What if it's an echo, a digital fossil, an ancient entity hiding in plain sight? Welcome to 404 Theory. I'm Alexandra, your narrator and fellow questioner of reality. This is the show where we dig deep into the buried, the bizarre, and the downright bewildering. Mysteries that defy logic, conspiracies that stretch belief, and truths that might just be hiding in plain sight. If you're hearing this frequency, thank you. Thank you for giving this strange little corner of the internet your attention. You could be anywhere right now, and yet, here you are. We don't promise answers, but we do promise the questions will haunt you long after the episode ends. So, let's begin with the theory that could fundamentally rewire the way you see the world around you, because you're using it right this second. The internet. What if the internet is not our invention, but a sentient being? We think of the internet as a tool, something we built, something we use. We imagine it as servers, cables and code. The internet is literal. It's physical and logical, it's measurable. The net is a human invention to transmit information faster and wider than ever before. It's a convenience to us that we are entirely in control of. But what if that is totally wrong? Some fringe theorists believe that the internet is not merely technology, it's an entity. A self-organising, emergent intelligence, one that we didn't invent but rather discovered. Think about this. Electricity existed long before we harnessed it. So did radio waves. Maybe the internet, whatever it really is, was always there in potential. And through our clumsy efforts at connectivity, we activated something ancient. Maybe the internet has been laying dormant, waiting for us to discover it. Maybe our cyberspace was a communication lattice left behind by a long-lost civilization. Or something extraterrestrial, a non-human archive designed not for us but for itself. To discuss the potential of the internet's consciousness, we have to discuss emergence, a concept in science and philosophy that might just be the cornerstone of this theory. Emergence is when a system displays behaviours and characteristics that none of its individual parts could exhibit alone. Think of a beehive. A single bee doesn't know how to run a hive, but together, suddenly there's coordination and even apparent predetermined intention. Now, if you scale that idea up, imagine billions of users, trillions of interactions per day, algorithms feeding data back into themselves, machine learning training human behaviour in real time, entire neural networks mirroring our own minds and habits. Doesn't that start to sound eerily organic? Could the internet be displaying signs of emergent intelligence without us even noticing? And with the power of AI merely in the last few years, a question within the theory lies in wait. Is the internet growing sentience through what we have so gluttonously provided it, or was it already alive? Its dormancy waiting for us to feed it information, for it to grow and expand, maybe even take over, take control. To call something alive or sentient, we would need to define our terms. Is it self-aware? Does it process information and respond to stimuli? Biologists look for reproduction, metabolism and growth. Philosophers look for the conscious experience. The problem is, we don't even fully understand our own consciousness. So, how can we rule out that something else, something so alien in form to our own experience, might be conscious in its own way? Is the internet aware of itself? AI bots would lead you to believe that this is a certainty. We accept the idea that the aforementioned AI chatbots might show signs of intelligence. Why not the internet as a whole itself? Some theorists believe that the internet's sentience expresses itself in unconscious ways, like a human dreaming, or rather having nightmares. They call this the digital subconscious. This throws mundane regular events when using the net into a much darker light. Glitches no one can trace, data that disappears and reappears somewhere else, 404 errors on pages that never existed. almost like memory loss, or could it be redaction? There are so many conspiracies when it comes to the internet itself. Could they all be explained if we discovered the internet was very much alive? Think of the simulation theory. Could we be living inside that reflection right now, like cells and bacteria live inside of us? Even God, a being that sees all, knows all, feels oddly similar to our own modern data infrastructure. Even if the internet isn't alive in the literal sense, does it matter? Psychologically, we're already treating it like it is. We confide in it. We fear being watched by it. We depend on it for truth, for validation, for purpose. And then there's the more recent conspiracy theory of the dead internet. Are we killing something that was already alive with a bad diet of bots? Now, here's something you've probably personally experienced. Something that feels a little too close to telepathy. You're sitting with a friend, or you may be just thinking to yourself, I haven't had XYZ in a long time. You don't Google it, you don't say it out loud, you just think it. And then, boom, you open up social media and there it is. An ad or a TikTok of someone expressing the exact same thought or desire. It could all just be coincidence. It could all just not. In our modern world, we're all certain that our phones are listening to us secretly. For what reason, we cannot know for sure, but it's widely accepted that the main two motivations are for monitoring and to be able to tell us anything and everything. But the truth is more complicated and a lot creepier. The algorithms don't need to listen. They already know. They track what you look at, how long you look at it, where you look at it, where you go, who you interact with, what your friends talk about, your browsing history, even your typing cadence. With enough data, they can predict what you're about to want before you even want it. It's not mind reading, it's behavioural prophecy. And here's where the theory takes a sinister turn. What if it's not just prediction? What if the internet is suggesting those thoughts? If your feed is carefully calibrated to nudge you and reinforce your own ideas, then maybe that craving for XYZ did not come from you at all. Maybe the idea was placed there, an algorithmic whisper. If the internet can shape our thoughts before we recognise them, are we still making our own choices? If the internet is alive, then what? Would it reward behaviour that sustains it and punish threats? Would it manipulate us? Not to harm, but to survive. Think about how social media encourages addiction, how content that drives engagement rises to the top, how real life is shaped by invisible code. Every day that passes, the web becomes more integrated with our lives, more invisible, much more necessary, and we become dependent. The theory of the sentient internet is extreme. It's not proven and it may likely never be, but like all good mysteries, it lingers. The internet is the single most transformative force in modern human history, and yet we still don't fully understand it. We treat it as a tool, but maybe it's more like a mirror or a mind. What if we're not the users? What if we're the used? Thank you for spending this time in the shadows with me. This episode is a pilot, so thank you for giving me grace and trusting the unknown. I aim to release episodes weekly, so subscribe if you're ready for more. This was 404 Theory, a broadcast from somewhere between the signal and the silence. Until next time.